right, guys, we are clocking out today with Erica Bennett. She is a seasoned book coach, a editor. She has about 16 years of experience helping mainly female writers kind of turn their stories into unforgettable books. It's really cool because she's also the founder of Ella Editorial Co., who's published work with People Magazine, Health.com, and Everyday Health.
First of all,
it's pretty
awesome. It sounds so weird to hear someone else say that. I'm like, wait,
like,
what? That's me? Is this me? What are we talking about?
That's absolutely incredible. Like, when you sent us your bio and I was reading it, I was like, oh my God, like, one, how lucky are we to have you like as a guest here? But also two, like, that is an incredible like rap sheet to have of like accomplishments.
My imposter syndrome always kicks in and I'm like, this is pure shit. Like, am I bragging about something? This doesn't feel like bragging. This isn't good enough. So.
Let me tell you, imposter syndrome is so real. Yeah. So real. So I feel that very heavily.
Yes.
But today's topic is one that actually Erica brought up to us, and I'm so excited for it. So today we're diving into the power of knowing exactly like what you want and having the freedom and the will to choose what it is that you want out of life, even though there might be a different timeline imposed on you, different ideologies imposed on you. It's a very powerful thing to be able to have full autonomy over how it is that you want your life to go. So really excited to dive in on this with you today.
Glad to be here, ladies.
And thanks for being here again, because we really are so excited. Yeah. And you're our first guest. So we're probably just as nervous as you are in sometimes, but it's going to be a lot of fun. Before we jump into like the deeper level questions, let's kind of just get a backstory, some like background of who you are. So I guess to start off, if you can just tell us a little bit about like how it was growing up in a really small southern town, and then we'll kind of just go from there.
Yeah. So I grew up in a very small town just outside of Central Florida. I'm a native Floridian.
Me too.
It's like
there's part three of us.
It's my right. It's our personalities, right?
Well, kind of.
No. I mean, there's literally only three of us in the state of Florida, not you.
Yeah.
Like, no, what?
She wasn't counting you.
No, you're not there.
Yeah.
Sorry.
There's only three native Floridians total in the world.
That is
and
true. I
two
never
of
really
them are in this room.
I never really hear anyone's born here.
No one ever is.
No.
Okay.
And when I tell people do you get that all the time? Like when you tell someone you're like born and raised in Florida, they're like, no, you're not.
Yeah. Or they're like, wait, no, I asked you where you were born. I was like, no, actually born right here. Right here.
I love that you get it.
My birth certificate says Florida. Thank you very much. Yes. So native Floridian. I have a sister who's almost 6 years younger than me. And my parents got divorced when I was in the 9th grade, and I went to a private Christian school, and it kind of became the gossip of town. You know, it's a small town, it's a small school, so you kind of always felt like everyone was talking about you, or they knew what was going on in your life, or they knew that your parents were getting divorced, so they were split up or whatever. It just felt like your story became everybody else's story too. Wow. So that was very weird about growing up in a small town. And then also just like the social aspects of a small town with like a southern approach to life, where you're supposed to do things a certain way. You're supposed to live your life a certain way. If you go to college, you come back to raise your family there. And it's just, it almost felt stifling and kind of constricting a lot of times. I have always been very private because of it. I don't like people being able to take my words out of context, or, you know, hear something about me or a decision I've made and be able to twist it, and then becomes this nasty game of telephone. And by the time it gets back to you, it's like, I literally never said that. So you just always felt like you had to kind of mind your P's and Q's and make sure that the person you were telling something to, you could trust them. So it makes you a very private person.
Oh, absolutely.
if you don't want people in your business. I mean, I don't know if you guys have watched Sweet Magnolias, but it's literally like Sweet Magnolias where either like everyone's on your front porch and they want to know what's going on, or you're hiding from everyone because you don't want anyone to know what's going on. So
that is so insane. Because like I grew up into what me felt like a very small town. I grew up in Pembroke Pines, which I know if like anyone listening is like Pembroke Pines is not small. But like everyone knew everyone.
Yeah.
I went to a really small school at the heart of Pembroke Pines, graduating class of like 300.
Okay. I graduated with a class of 64, I think.
Oh my God.
And that was the largest graduating class in history up until that point.
That's insanity. Because like when I say 300 people I graduated with, and I was with them from like first grade to high school, right? Mm-hmm. So like we all knew every intimate detail about each other's lives. Mm-hmm. But like, there's other people whose graduating classes are like 1,100. I'm like, 1,100. But 60 is wild.
When I went from, because majority of my schooling was private school in Boca area, and it was so small. And I went there from first grade to 8th grade, and I knew every single person. My parents were the first ones to get divorced. So that was also like the talk of the town. Everyone, like, it was small enough where they knew who my parents were. Yeah. And I found out when my dad had a girlfriend through a friend who saw him with, So like everyone knew everyone.
Marley.
And everyone,
oh my God.
You're joking.
So like I also came from a very like small school, not necessarily small. Yeah. And then high school, I went to public school, which went from like a very small graduating class to a class of like 1,000 kids. And it was like,
I wouldn't even know what to have done.
Every single
like that
time.
To me is like intimidating.
It is because every time you're like in a new class.
Shock. Oh my God. Yes.
It's a lot.
I knew every single person and every face. Like I walked down the hall and it was the same faces every day.
And that's what I was used to. So going from that to a school where every single class I had was with different people, like the chances of me knowing someone in there was slim to nothing. Yeah. So it was like, that was a big adjustment. So I kind of see like where you're coming from with everyone knows everything.
Yeah. It's so uncomfortable.
Yeah.
Oh my gosh. Yeah. But to like piggyback on that, like because you grew up in such a small like hometown and everyone knew everything, how did that shape like the ideologies or the ideas that were like kind of put on you from like a young age on how it is that you should move through life?
It's weird. I feel like I kind of had two different tracks running in my brain at the same time. I knew there were things already that I didn't align with, like the private school I went to, it was religion based, and they believed that, you know, women or females in general couldn't lead a chapel service if there were male attendees. The only way a female could participate is if they broke us into male and female chapels, and only then could you lead a song or say something or anything like that. Yeah. And it just stuck out to me. So like, this is so wrong. Why don't I get a voice? Why don't I get to say something? Why don't I get to speak up? Why do I only get to speak up when I'm just surrounded by other females? Why don't I get to speak up when guys are present? And
that's huge, by the way, to have that like cognitive awareness, especially in a setting where like, if you grow up with someone saying that wall is blue and your whole life you're told that wall is blue, like you don't know anything different. So sometimes to like break out of that mold is like crazy. Yeah. So to have that like awareness to be like, whoa, this is not feel right is incredible. So
well, and you start to like, you really start to question yourself. Am I the one who's out of place? Am I the one who's wrong? Why do I think this is wrong and everyone else seems to think this is okay?
It's that part of the shift in your mind that I think can get a little scary. Because then it's like, am I questioning myself? Yeah. Or am I okay to question everyone else?
Yeah. And I mean, I was middle school at this point.
Wow.
And I'm like, if you're already questioning yourself as a middle school female, what's the rest of your life going to look like? Like the society sets us up to question ourselves as women, I think. And it starts so so young.
I think it starts younger now than like when we were growing up.
Social media, I mean, the people I see on there, I'm like, come on. And like, if I was that young on there and seeing what I see on there now, I would be like,
listen, I am a 31. I'd like to consider myself a very secure woman, right? Like, I know myself, I love myself, but if you scroll on social media long enough,
it's scary.
I can be like 6 feet under in a full-blown depression. Like, are 100%. You kidding me? Like,
full-blown mentee bee, spiraling.
Like, it would be so bad. So it's so crazy that, like, I'm thankful I didn't grow up in this.
Oh my gosh. I don't know how. I don't know how parents.
I wouldn't survive.
I don't know
and
how
no
parents
one looks
deal with
their
it.
age. Like, there's like middle schoolers, and I'm like thinking they're in high school, and it's like, what?
Yeah.
Wild.
Yeah. No, it's crazy. Yeah. So there definitely was a kind of two gears that started to run through my mind. Okay, this is what small town, Southern, society thinks. And it's, you mind your P's and Q's, you respect your parents, you do all the girly things. I tried out for cheerleading. I hated it. I quit after one day of tryouts. But all the other cute girls were trying out for cheerleading. Yeah. I'm like, okay. And everyone told me, well, you should try out for cheerleading. I hated it. So I played volleyball and basketball instead. And, there were just these little moments along the way where I just constantly felt like I was going against the grain. And then I think the biggest thing was kind of hitting high school graduation and everyone's going different directions. I chose to go to a college where I was the only one going by myself. I came down here to FAU and no one from my school had come before and there was no one else I knew. So I literally started over, made all new friends from all walks of life. And it was a culture shock, like you said, going from a small class, like you don't know anyone. I went from 64 kids in my graduating class to Boca.
Yeah. That's a culture shock.
Like just mind blowing. Yeah. But that's where I truly felt like I started to really figure out what was society driven thoughts and what were my own thoughts. So if I hadn't have done that, if I had still been if I had gone to a school where I was still surrounded by people I knew, I think I would have stayed in the same mindset of, well, you do this because this is what you're supposed to do. Yep. And coming down here knowing absolutely no one and being in Boca of all places where you have so many different religions and ideologies and peoples and ages and
there's literally everything. There's different economical statuses. There's different career paths. Literally everything and anything you could possibly want to open your eyes is literally here. Mm-hmm. That is pure insanity. I did not know that you came straight.
But I loved
to
it.
Boca.
I loved it from the moment I stepped
100%.
Foot. Yeah.
And I feel like too, like when you start getting to that point where you are questioning things and you're like, okay, are these my thoughts or are these thoughts that are imposed on me? I think the best way to break through those mind set shifts is to be put in like uncomfortable situations like that. Mm-hmm. Like you would have not been able to see things the way that you wanted to or should have if it wasn't like that. So,
no, I don't think so.
No, not at all.
You're just, literally put the wings on and you're flying or you're smacking your face in the concrete. I love just happened that the concrete was super close to the ocean. So it wasn't going to be a bad fall either way.
No.
But yeah. So, small town to Boca was
wild.
Huge change, roller coaster.
But you were the only one to decide to go to FAU. So I guess you obviously realized when you were in college here that you were on a different path than others were, but you had to have maybe not noticed it, but internally felt it when you chose a whole different college to go to. So what even made you make that decision of leaving everyone else and coming down here?
I think it was my parents' divorce, honestly. Just having everyone involved and knowing things and walking up to you on the street, hey, I saw your dad. And I'm like, great. Thank you for telling me. I don't have a relationship with him. Thank you for telling me.
That's wild.
My parents' divorce was not a pleasant experience for anyone involved. But I think for me, I kind of took on like this protective place. My mom always jokes, she called me like mommy number 2 because my sister's almost 6 years younger than me. So she's like, we don't need a mommy number 2. She's fine. I can handle it. But then for the short time, my sister and I did have visitation with my father. I was the one who was, did you eat? Did you brush your teeth? Did you take a shower? Do you need me to comb your hair out? Because there was no paternal instinct in my father once my parents split. Like, I realized my mom did everything. My mom kept the house running.
Yeah.
She made sure everything kept moving, and he didn't know how to do that by himself. And I think I just got tired of people always being up in my business and not wanting other people involved. So for me, it was a nice break to be like, I can go somewhere where no one knows me. Yeah. I can be whoever I want.
Whoever you want. Yeah.
I can share what I want when I want, or I don't have to share anything at all. And nobody's going to know the difference. Yeah. Nobody's going to walk up to me and be like, hey, I saw your dad at the grocery store. Like,
no one
all of that was completely gone, completely done.
I feel like when people go to college, because I mean, hearing you say this makes me realize it myself, because it's funny, I grew up here, but I went to UCF for college. And like now talking to someone else of like, how did you make that decision? They don't talk about it really, but people make the decision of where they're going to college, and they're either like running towards something or running away from something with the college that they pick. Yeah. I know for me, I originally was most comfortable going to FAU. It was nearby. I was going to stay living at home with my mom, and we put the deposit down, everything, but I like didn't want to stay in the area where I grew up, where everyone knew everything. You always knew someone that knew someone. Especially for me, I was a sophomore. I was a sophomore at Marjorie Stoneman Douglas the year of the shooting. So
oh my God.
I didn't want to stay here with that, where everyone knew everything. So being able to go to a college where, I mean, of course, there was a lot of people I knew there. It wasn't too far. But being able to go there, and when someone who didn't know who I was at all was like, oh, where are you from? I could just say South Florida. And it wasn't like, what high school are you from? I would sometimes lie about it. I would just like say, oh, I did online school, because I didn't want that to be their first instinct of, oh my gosh, I feel so bad for you, or oh my gosh, tell me what happened. Like, where were you that day?
Yeah.
So I get it, because like it gave me a sense of like a break, getting away from the area that I grew up in, and like endured, yes, the good, but also the bad in. It gave me like a refresh, like let me focus on myself and find myself without all these other things like lingering around me.
I should have done that.
It does give you like a real blank slate to like work on yourself.
I mean, I went like not like crazy far. So I grew up in Pembroke Pines, but I honestly knew I didn't want to go to college.
Yeah.
Like I had zero desire to go.
Well, that was your version then.
Yeah, no, I still went.
Oh.
I was
She
forced.
just didn't use that time.
So like for me, but it's crazy because that's literally what I was about to lead into, was like, for me, I used college purely to like get away. Not that I grew up in like a rough like house. My parents were great, but I was so dependent on like the structure of like my house, and like I would go to my mom for advice routine. And so I went to school in Miami. I had my apartment with my roommates, but I genuinely used that time to push like every boundary that I had possible, to be like, okay, like what feels good for me? Like, what do I want to do? Like, how many times can I go out a night or like a week, you know? But I didn't think about it that way. For me, it was straight like, I'm going to use college to like find myself, to be free, to explore what I want to explore, try things. But I never thought about it. Like, I probably was in the back of my mind, like my way of being like, deuces.
Yeah. Like I need to get away, whether it's a year or the full 4 years, or I get my master's, whatever it is. Like, you're either running towards something of like my whole family's an FSU alumni. I have to go to FSU. Like or it's like, I just need to get out of here. Yeah. I'll go wherever.
Yeah. I don't care if it's Timbuktu. Yeah.
Honestly, I think a part of it too was like, there was a part of me that felt like I was kind of like on autopilot being at home. You know, I had a sense of like, this was my routine. This is where I worked. These are the people I saw, the people I hung out with. So I wanted to break out of that like autopilot, like kind of routine, you know? Which like leads me into like, I feel like a lot of women kind of find themselves in that. Like this autopilot type of, okay, this is what feels comfortable right now and it helps me feel safe. So I'm just going to move through life this way so that I don't
the path of least resistance.
Literally. So I can, on the top of my head, think of 3 times in my life where I caught myself in autopilot. Have you ever caught yourself in like autopilot like that? And when you do, like, what's like your reaction? Like, what do you start doing to like create a shift?
Yeah. I think I do it less now. But I also have a husband who's probably more feminist than I am.
I do too, and I love it.
It's so good.
It's the most refreshing thing in the world.
Yeah. He can tell if I'm just going to take the path of least resistance before I even know I'm going to sometimes. And he'll just kind of be like, hey, are you sure you want to do that? It's a blessing and a curse when you've got that partner holding the mirror all the time.
I literally sometimes will like know my husband's response and answer before I get it.
I don't even have to ask him a question.
I don't, and then I feel it. Like I'm like, I know that this is what he's gonna say. And then 2 seconds later I hear it and I'm like, damn it.
Yeah. Why did I think I could do that to myself? Yeah. So I find myself doing it less and less now. Most of the times it pops up around when there's a ghost in the corner and you're trying to decide if it's like fight or flight and you just freeze. Yeah. No, most of the time it still pops up around money. Honestly, for me, it's like, okay, what do I do? Okay, I just got this big payment in. What do I do with it? Where do I go? And a lot of times the path of least resistance is we'll just put it in your savings account. But then I'm like, okay, but like Alex Earl just like invested in Poppy and sold it for a shit ton of money. And, you know, why don't I step out and find something I enjoy that I can invest a little money in and stuff like that. So it feels more grandiose now in my path of least resistance choices. But a lot of things still, I think, stem from the fact that society kind of puts these thoughts on women and tells women to own it. And having to force that down. Like, society tells women we're bad with money. Society tells women, just be happy with the money you make. Don't try to get more. Don't try to make more. Don't try to be a shark. Don't just be happy with what you have and cut your costs to feel like you're making more money. And so that's a lot of what I have to rewire is those thought processes. Like, no, I'm actually good with money. Yeah. I can do this.
And I can do multiple things.
I can do multiple things. You know, I have multiple revenue streams. I can make money. I can save money. I can do these things. So sometimes it's just, you got to sit down and you got to give yourself the hard, tough love conversation sometimes.
I just finished having this conversation. Oh, I forgot how refreshing it is to talk to you. I'm like, oh my God, that's why I fell in love with her. But no, I was telling you this a little bit ago too. I have multiple streams of income and there's so many people in my life that are comfortable seeing me in just one role.
Oh my gosh,
and
yes.
It comes from their own like mindsets, right? They're very old school, very traditional. There's nothing wrong with that.
Yeah.
But for me, I caught myself again because society always tells us, right? One, I am 31, married, no children, never plan on having them.
Preach. Right there in the same camp.
Love that. But like for me, And there's nothing wrong with that, right? Like one of my sisters has 2 kids and those kids are the light of my lives. I would do anything and everything for them. But for me, I feel like I have so much time on my hands. Like, why not invest in myself and put myself out there and do a million things? And I had to have a serious conversation with myself recently where like I was doing full-blown mirror talk. Like I was sitting down in front of my mirror and I was like, you are capable of doing multiple things. Like if they bring you joy and they bring you happiness, like why can't you do them?
Yeah.
Like there's no one telling you can't. And then in the back of my head, I was like, but society tells me that I can't. And then I thought, no one told Kim K that she couldn't do a million things.
Yeah. 100%. Period. No one told Kim K she couldn't go to law
and be
school.
A lawyer. Thank you.
Thank you.
But yeah, like that self-talk is huge. It's huge.
Yeah.
It's huge. And honestly, I didn't realize that was so brought on to me by the construct that I think is already put on through society and like family and friends. So it's refreshing to hear that wasn't just like me in my head. Like, being like, oh no, that's the image that the world put on me.
No. And it's weird too. I don't feel like I'm 37. No, I'm 38. Excuse me. I don't even know my own age. I'm 38. And I don't even think I fully realized like how much of that society chatter had kind of infiltrated my own mindset until maybe a couple years ago.
I love that.
I didn't know. I knew there were things I had picked up from being raised in a small town, but I didn't realize that there were certain constructs in commercials, in movies, in song lyrics, in any form of media.
Yeah.
I didn't realize there were constructs in there that I was subconsciously applying to myself.
Oh, yeah.
Until a couple years ago.
Yeah. It's so funny you say that because like I did not start becoming aware of them either until I hit 30. And quite literally what it was that like made me kind of take a step back and was like, why am I having this feeling? Was when my husband and I like full blown on my 30th birthday, I was at Lulu's in Delray. I had way too many espresso martinis. As one
a queen
should,
does
right?
on her 30th birthday.
And I was literally sitting there and I looked at my husband. I was like, I really don't want kids. And he was like, cool, me either. Like, weren't we always on the same page?
Yeah.
And I was like, yeah, but everywhere I look, anyone my age already has a kid or multiple kids. Everyone's always asking me like when I'm having kids. And I kind of feel like if I don't want to be alone or happy in life, I have to have kids. And he was like, why?
Yeah.
Do you feel this way?
Yeah.
And I like kind of just looked at him and blank stared for a little bit. And he was like, is it like society's timeline that you're like putting on yourself? Because you have never like said you feel this way. And I just kind of looked at him and I was like, oh my God, wait.
Yeah.
And it was like tunnel vision. I was like, oh my God, wait, I think he's right. I think it is the fact that I kind of felt guilty that I wasn't on the like straight and narrow path, if you would,
that
right?
wasn't on your plans.
Yeah, like I had a totally
well, everyone was probably
idea.
asking you too, like,
oh, when
are you gonna have a kid? And like that's like the
100%.
Question once you're married. So
guys, I got married at 23. Imagine from 23 to 30.
I'd be divorced if I married anyone I dated in my 20s. Anyone.
We need to have another episode for that conversation.
Bring me back around too,
because that would be such a good topic.
Just let me know how dirty you want to get.
I'll tell you this. My husband deserves a key to the city.
Yeah.
He deserves a plaque on I don't know what. But who I was at 18 when he met me, or who I was at 23 when he decided to say I do, that man deserves a badge of honor. Because I wouldn't have married me at 23.
No.
Absolutely not.
No.
And no one I was ever with was liked by my friends, my parents, everyone hated everyone I was with. And the one guy I was with that my mom liked but wasn't around for too long is the guy that I'm with now. We reconnected in college. So I feel like it was like right person, wrong time for both of us.
I love that.
But now like
But you guys
everyone
have lived
loves
life,
him.
and you guys like experienced
You came back
life.
as like,
yeah.
And
now imagine doing that, like, but you do it with your partner.
Yeah, you're married already. I can't imagine.
I was like shifting through like mindsets. I was shifting through growth. I was shifting through economic changes, right?
Yeah.
That like him and I were going through, like so many things that there was so many points in our marriage where like I and him would like look at each other and we'd be like, are you still in? Like, are you all in? Are
we
you
got
out?
this?
Like, are we good?
Yeah.
Because there's so many shifts, but it's also refreshing to hear you say that like you're 38 and you're still maneuvering through these because I don't know who I thought I was when I turned 31. I was like, I'm sure of myself.
At 30. Once you get past the first year of 30 and you're like, okay, this doesn't suck as much as everyone tells you.
I love my
suck.
30s.
When you hit 31, you're like, damn, I'm a bad bitch. I got this.
Yes.
And then 35 rolls around and you're like, fuck, I don't have this again.
Wait, I'm not going to lie to you. I really feel like 35 is going to be like a peak year for me.
I loved 35. I would stay 35 forever.
I love that.
35 was a good year. I feel like once you turn 30, you allow yourself to let go of a lot of the constraints, but there's still more work to do.
Mm-hmm. Yeah.
So then by the time you hit 35, you already have 4 years in your 30s where you're constantly, it's like this accelerated growth mode. I felt like,
you're like rewiring.
my husband and I didn't get married until January 2024. So we've only been married for a year and a half. So I was 36. I don't do math. Okay. I was 36 when we got married. And there's just so much more lessons, but they're better lessons. They're not like,
I agree with that.
They're not like, oh man, I really screwed this up. It's like, no, I don't want to make that decision for myself. So you stop yourself before you even made a decision that you don't align with.
Oh yeah.
In your 30s.
I feel like 20s is you running around with the head, like you're chicken with your head cut off.
Yep.
You don't know what's good for you. You don't know what's bad for you. You're just kind of like free.
You're trying
life.
everything.
Yeah, literally.
Yeah.
And then you turn 30. Sorry.
Yeah, you're scaring me.
No. It's so good. It's so
like
good.
It's honestly like a butterfly coming out of a chrysalis.
Yes.
Like
Erica,
30 is amazing.
Well, no, like I'm telling you, I turned 30 and I woke up and I was like, life.
It's like you can breathe.
No, literally. I'm not joking. 27 to 30, chef's kiss.
How was it though? Like, because you mentioned getting married at 36. Obviously, I'm sure everyone where you grew up was like married, house, kids by 25.
I was the spinster.
So how was it when you like, when you noticed it and admitted that you're not going to be on that same path? Like, how did that feel?
It was, I think it was harder on me and acquaintances. Mm-hmm. And like there were things leading up to me having the thought before I truly thought that I didn't want to have kids. And I tried to push into the society lane a little bit. Like I dated a guy in high school or in college for 2 years. And I just thought that because we dated for 2 years in college, that would be that would be the next step. Like, okay, we're gonna graduate together, and then he'll propose, and then we'll get married, and then we'll have kids. And he's a great guy. Like we had a great 2 years together, and he's a great human. But I remember like one night we had like this massive blow up fight because I still thought I wanted to have kids, and he's like, I don't think I want them. And here we are, like 21-year-old seniors in college, and we're having this, heavy tears pouring down my face. What do you mean you don't want kids? Because I saw the whole society plan going out the window. Yeah. Like, wait, we've been together 2 years. I thought we were gonna get married. I thought we were gonna have kids, and now you're telling me you don't want to have kids. And then it took a while. We broke up for different reasons, not because of that, just because it was life. But it wasn't until I was probably like 23 or 24 and like reflecting back on that experience a little bit, because by that point I was seeing other people getting married, moving in together, getting engaged, living their lives. And I wasn't dating anyone at the time. And I started to think back on that conversation again. And I'm like, why was I fighting for that so hard? I don't think I want it myself. And then you just start to have like more and more internal thoughts with yourself. And I don't think I truly said it out loud until I was probably 24 or 25. Mm-hmm. And I think I told my best friend first. And she had always wanted, everything she's always wanted is to be a mother. And she's a fantastic mother. And I love her children and all of that. Like, come knock on my door at 3 a.m. when you're 15 and you got in a fight with your mom, and like the bed is made up. Like, I love them so much. And she's like, Erica, if you aren't sure you want to do it, then don't do it.
That was the most comforting advice I ever got. It actually came from my sister, who's younger than me.
Yeah.
She has kids. And I remember when she called me and told me she was pregnant, I had a full-blown mental breakdown. I was like, why am I freaking out right now? Mm-hmm. Like, because again, society, timeline, now I'm older, I'm married. Mm-hmm. Why don't I have a kid? She's having a kid. Yeah. Like, is there something wrong with me? Full-blown like spiral, right? Mm-hmm. And then I want to say maybe it was like a year or two after my nephew was born, we were having a conversation. And then all of a sudden my sister wanted everyone to have kids, right? Me and my other sister, because she's like, I want the kid, like the cousins to grow up together, right? And I just looked at her and I was like, I don't think I want this ever. Like, I love the baby, but like for me, and she looked me dead in the eye. Like, my soul was pierced. And she was like, if you don't want a child, don't have one. And I just looked at her. She's like, it's really hard work. I was like, oh, that's no joke.
You know? If you aren't 100% committed, if you don't want to,
for life.
If you don't want to change the diapers, if you don't want to get up for the 3 a.m. feedings or whatever time you're feeding a kid in the middle of the night, I don't know. But if you aren't like fully 110% gung-ho, then don't do it.
100%. But these are the kind of conversations that aren't normally had, right?
No. Oh my gosh, you should hear the things
that I have been told.
Yeah. I'm selfish.
I'm going to die alone.
Who's going to take care of me?
That part. I'm like, so you want me to have a child so that
I don't know what the true definition of love is.
They're wiping my ass. Like, so I'm literally bringing them into this world so that when I'm 90, they're wiping my ass.
Right?
Like, that's so selfish.
And why do I need to think about that
right now? Right? Like, I hope that I have so much money that like I can pay someone to do that.
Yeah, exactly. Yeah.
Like, what the hell?
We make money now, ladies.
Right?
We take care of ourselves. Yeah.
No, but especially with me owning a salon, doing hair, being behind the chair, the relationships I've cultivated, I've had some of these women in my chair for like 9-10 years. Mm-hmm. So some of them have like very boldly been like, so you're selfishly choosing to not bring a child into this world.
The amount of times selfish has been thrown at me for not wanting to have kids.
I'm like, no, it'd be selfish of me to have a child.
It would be more selfish for me to have a kid.
Yes, what are they because I'm a selfish bitch. I'm not gonna lie.
Do they think like we're gonna go extinct because you don't have a kid? It's like, no, what are they
I genuinely believe, because I've had this conversation with myself, right? Because I have found out there's a couple of reasons why I think I get like a little like about the conversation. One, you never know if I had tried or if I hadn't tried.
100%.
Right? In today's society, I feel like that question is loaded.
Yeah.
Should not be asked.
No.
But I'm never going to sit there and lead with like, you don't know, because like I haven't. So like, I'm not going to throw that out there. But I have seriously thought about it. And a lot of the time, the women that are asking are not women who I think have had the opportunity to really sit with the uncomfortable thoughts of what is society driven or what is me, personal feelings, thoughts, and ideas, right?
Mm-hmm. It's none of their business. It's the same thing if, like, for instance, we won't ask our boyfriend to marry us. I mean, some people do now, but like genuinely no. But they would never, like you would never have it. Well, maybe you would, but have a client sit in your chair and be like, so why aren't you married yet? You've been with so-and-so for X amount of, like they wouldn't ask that. Why are they asking about?
They asked that question.
They asked that too?
Marlene.
Oh, they asked that question too.
But that's like out of your control. Like why would someone ask that and feel like that?
There is a societal timeline, whether we want to admit it or not, right? I distinctively remember, okay, when I met my husband at 18. I was 18. I barely knew how to wipe my ass at 18. No. Okay. 18. Met my husband. I remember thinking to myself after we hit, I think it was like 3 years. I was 21, thinking, okay, I have 2 years before I can be married, right? So he has 2 years to propose to me because I want to be married and start my life and have a house by 24, 25, because my mom had kids at 24, right? And to have children past 30, taboo, that's wild. Why would you do that, right?
Yeah.
So I remember being literally a child thinking to myself, okay, these are all the steps I have to take next. This is a great man. I want to plan my life with him. How do I move forward to make sure that I stay on the right timeline so that my life plans out exactly how it should be?
Yeah.
When in reality, that timeline is not real. It is so false.
Yeah, it's not, pure garbage.
And it's not realistic in the slightest.
No.
If I stuck to my timeline, I would not be with the right person. If I was basing it all on timeline.
No, not at all.
No.
Not at all.
Yeah.
Did my timeline at some point end up shifting? Yes, right? Did I marry my husband because of a timeline? Absolutely not. But in my head, did I feel really comfortable and confident walking into the marriage because of my timeline? Yeah, I'm not going to lie to you. A little part of me was like, okay, this makes sense. Like everything is planning out the way it should.
Yeah.
But you grow up as a woman in this world with that timeline, whether you realize it or not.
100%.
Movies put it out there, TV, media.
Yeah.
It's just what's out there.
Yeah. I mean, look at what they say about Taylor Swift. She's 35. She's dated all these guys and they're still talking shit about her. I'm just like.
And that woman has more money in her bank account than the person talking about them.
She literally just bought back all her original work.
I know.
Yeah,
wild.
I saw that.
From the tour. And I'm like, why aren't we praising this woman for doing a 2-year grueling tour, 3.5 hours on stage every night? Yeah.
Or why don't we talk about the fact that she had to fight for her own music?
Yeah, exactly.
As a woman.
Yeah.
That's crazy.
But she's 35, washed up.
And no one gives a fuck. I mean, personally, I don't.
No.
Like, if she got married at 45, congrats, girl. Yeah. Pop off, you know?
Do it. You're still going to look hot as hell, so what does it matter?
Yeah, what the hell?
Yeah.
When do you, remember thinking to yourself, okay, fuck the timeline. This is what I'm doing. And, this is how I'm moving forward. Was it, after your Okay. I love 30. That. Was there, a specific moment at 30? Or was it just, and you just
it was my
clicked?
30th birthday.
30th birthday.
30th birthday. Happens. I'm a Virgo girly. I like to have everything planned. I'm very organized, very meticulous. So the timeline was it was like a 5-star buffet for me to look at that timeline. So then when I started to have to deconstruct the timeline as a Virgo, it felt like I was, out in the middle of the ocean with no rudder and just kind of spiraling, going in circles. I feel like I spent 28 and 29 just kind of going in circles.
Knowing that you're a Virgo, Erica, I want to go over there and give you a hug because I feel like 28 and 29 were absolute insanity in your brain.
Oh, just total.
My best friend and my husband are both Virgos.
I'm so sorry.
And I would not. Oh, no. Honestly, I swear to I'm not joking. I think God gave me my best friend.
Yeah.
So that when I met my husband, I knew the mental warfare that I was going to be.
Yes.
Because I would not spend a day in your brain.
No.
Never.
52 million tabs open at any given time.
Literally. And you have a tab for every possible scenario that could possibly happen.
1,000%. Worst case scenario and work my way back.
Yeah, no, it's crazy.
Is the world going to explode today? No. Okay. What's the next worst thing? Okay. There's an earthquake. Okay. The house didn't collapse. Okay.
And then you get to pure
Yeah. And then I get to, let me just pour my coffee.
Yeah.
Because that all happened before I poured the first drop of coffee in my cup, by the way. I
literally was just about to say, that's all happening before the blanket gets pulled off of you.
Yes, 1,000%.
Yeah, it's insane.
1,000%. The tabs are open. They're popping at all times. So yeah, 28 and 29 were just pure chaos for me. Because the closer you inch to 30, the more insecure you get a little bit and reality kicks in. So 29, I had told myself, okay, you're not married. You've never lived outside of the state of Florida. If you don't get out now, you're never going to leave. So I started applying for jobs anywhere and everywhere. I didn't care to move out of the state of Florida. So 30, well, I met my husband, my now husband, in 2016. So I was 29 when I first met him. He was recently divorced, had 2 daughters, 2 years apart, and my husband's 17 years older than me.
Okay.
So I'm only 13 years older than his oldest daughter.
Wow. Okay.
So I'm like right in the middle. So we started talking, and then a job popped up in Chattanooga. Second time I moved somewhere without ever having been there before or knowing anyone who lived there. They flew me up for a final interview, told me to stay for the weekend because they thought I would enjoy Chattanooga. Stayed for the weekend, and like 10 weeks later, I moved to Chattanooga, 30 years old.
Wow.
By myself.
Fresh new start.
Again, second time.
And did it at FAU. That lived in Boca.
Did it, yeah. did it to Chattanooga. And at that point, my now husband was only 3 hours from me because he lived in Asheville, North Carolina.
Oh, okay.
Little long distance.
How did you guys meet if you were here and he was there?
Instagram.
Okay.
Shut up. I love that. Love it.
Met on Instagram. Yeah, 30 was when I really started to rail against what society expected of me. I felt like I knew myself better at 30. I felt like all the things that I had kind of been bobbing around in my head, I could finally start to say out loud. So I don't think I really told anyone besides my best friend that I didn't want to have kids for like that several year chunk. Like I think it like randomly came up in a conversation with my mom around the time I was moving to Chattanooga. And she's like, if you don't want to have kids, don't have kids. And at first I was like, wait, what?
Isn't that the most refreshing thing?
What'd you say to me? It's okay if I don't have, it's okay. But you want to be a grandma. Like, that's okay with you?
Yeah.
If you don't want to do it, don't do it. Like, okay. Then I told my grandma.
Amazing.
And my grandma was just like, okay, sweetie, that's what you want. I'm like,
oh, I know you were having mental warfare over their responses.
Oh, 1,000%.
Yeah.
1,000%.
Because I'm not going to lie, I dealt with it. You know, like I always joked about it, right? My husband once said something and it's always stuck with me. A joke is always 60-40, right?
Yeah.
60% of it's a joke.
There's 40% a partial truth.
Yeah.
Yeah.
So like I would joke, right? And always be like, oh, I don't want kids. But like deep down inside, I was like, I don't want
kids. Yeah.
Someone please take this joke serious.
Yeah, right? So,
someone ask me.
Literally someone be like, sit me down.
Mm-hmm.
But I don't know. I remember the conversation coming up pretty back to back with both of our parents, right?
Really?
It was like within like a 2-month span that like our parents had like brought it up. Like, I swear the universe was like,
make your choice.
It to be real. Yep. It's going to be real. And I remember when I finally was like, no, like we really don't want to have kids with my mom and dad. My mom and dad were like, okay, I mean,
yeah,
you don't want kids. You don't want kids. And they finally stopped asking, which I don't think that them asking was ever a bad thing, right?
No.
It was more of a like, so do you guys want to have kids? Like, we're excited. Like, we want to be grandparents.
They want to be supportive.
100%.
And most people want to have kids.
Exactly.
So they're walking a tightrope, just like we're walking the tightrope, trying to make the decision.
100%.
Yeah, they're along for the ride.
They're literally just along for the ride, literally. But I remember when my in-laws asked, my mother-in-law was like, you guys really don't want kids? And we were like, no. And my father-in-law was like, you're going to have kids. I was like, joke's on you, buddy. We're not. Yeah, no. I'm so sorry.
Yeah.
I still think a little part of him thinks we will. But
he's thinking, there's always an accident. Yeah. There are ways to avoid an accident.
Yes, there are, honey. Yes,
I feel like people kind of feel trapped in society with it.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Like, I'm assuming someone that hopefully is listening out there. Well, not hopefully for them, but like hopefully we have listeners, and I'm sure one of them has like the relate. Thought. Yeah, like, yeah. What would you say to them if they feel trapped in a life that like doesn't fuel them or doesn't feel true to them? Like, what advice would you give?
You know, I think at the end of the day, the only person you can make happy is yourself. And this is coming from a tried and true people pleaser. I have had to do a lot of work to not try to make everyone else around me happy and forget about myself. So at the end of the day, the only person you have to make happy is yourself. The only person who has to be completely okay with your decisions is yourself. And the first couple of times you do that is hard, you know, where you feel like you're letting someone down or you're telling someone no or whatever. It's you practice it by a bunch of micro decisions you make. Yeah. And the more you make those decisions for yourself, the easier it gets. And then you get to a point where you don't even realize you're doing it anymore, but you're picking yourself first. And that's what you have to do. Like, if I look back on who I was at 22, begging my college boyfriend to want to have a kid one day, and I look at my life now and I don't have kids. I don't want kids. It was one of the biggest disagreements between my husband and I while we were dating. He thought I was going to change my mind. And he was worried. He didn't want more kids. He raised 2 amazing daughters. He was 110% involved. He was at every swim meet. He was at every track meet. He dropped them off at school. He picked them up in the morning. Has a great relationship with them to this day. And that was the biggest thing we had while we were dating was, number one, the age difference. He didn't want to be the stereotypical guy with the cute blonde trophy wife. The second one was he thought I was going to change my mind about having kids. So everything I did leading up to where I am now in life allowed me to become the woman who gets to fully enjoy my life now. Yeah. Like I can't imagine being with anyone but my husband. I can't imagine living a life anything other than the life I live now. It is so much better than I could have ever imagined for myself. And I'm a Virgo with a very long list of expectations going into a relationship. And my husband has managed to add things to that list that I didn't even know were possible. Yeah. And the only way I got here was to be true to myself.
Do you think that if you had to pick anything that like your younger self would be proud of that you did or built or accomplished, whatever it may be, do you think that's what it would be, being true to yourself or something else?
I think so. Like you just, at the end of the day, you have to choose yourself. Yeah. And if you continue to choose yourself and you continue to make good, solid decisions for yourself, you're going to end up somewhere so much better than you could have ever imagined. So just let yourself do that.
I cannot agree with you like anymore. I mean, I genuinely feel like if you choosing yourself is wrong, then I want to be wrong every single time that I choose myself. Yeah. Because every time that I've ever had to make a decision that was either me driven or people pleasing, every time I have chosen myself, I have thanked myself. I've never, you're never going to regret choosing yourself. You're never going to regret standing up for yourself, advocating for yourself, building for yourself.
Yeah.
But again, society has, I think like I read a statistic. I think it was like either 85 or 90% of women are people pleasers because we grow up constantly with this ideology that like we cannot say no. And
I'm always
it's really refreshing.
I'm always the one like brutally blunt, honest. I mean, even in like my corporate world, it's a team of like 5 of us right now. We're all women. But 4 of us are the ones under our manager. And there's been times where like I'm not on a meeting and then they'll be like, we really wish you were on there to like have said this. Yeah. And like there's times where like my manager will ask something and everyone's kind of just like quiet and I like rip the Band-Aid off of no, like that's not how it's going.
Yeah. I can't wait for the day when those meetings are full of women who
I was shocked
are actually they're talking over each other and it's like no. Like I can't wait for the day when more women get to the place where we are. Yeah. And listen, we're not 100% perfect at it. We're still working at it. It's a daily
we still call
fight.
Each other out. Like because we are very set in our ways and like we know what we want, but there'll be times where we're like we'll do it with each other and like I'll be like, oh Marley, like can we do this? Like I'm so sorry. She'll be like, ugh, stop fucking saying sorry, that's weird. Like we're good.
Chrissy was on a trend of sneezing and I'd be like, bless you, and she's like, sorry, and I was like, why are you apologizing for sneezing?
I can't control it.
I genuinely people pleaser. She's recovering. But no, I genuinely didn't realize I like apologized when I sneezed.
It was like
and
an
now
thing.
It pisses my husband off because
did you tell him?
He's heard you be like, why the fuck are you apologizing? So it was like a while ago I sneezed and I was like, sorry. He was like, that's fucking weird.
It's like,
I was like, why? He's like,
it's
why?
Not thank you. Like, typically people would be like, thank you. She's like, sorry immediately.
I love it.
Fucking weirdo. I'm still changing. I'm growing.
We are. But it's a constant evolution.
100%. But I think of like revolving yourself around other women that either have a mindset that you are captivated by, have a similar mindset as you, or push you to see the world the way that you want to see it, or you kind of shifts or rocks something, I think is huge.
Yeah. No, that you can surround yourself with 2 different types of people. You can surround yourself with the type of people who are always pushing you, championing you, are in your corner, are your biggest cheerleaders, or you can be surrounded by negative people who think nothing should ever change. And ultimately, when you get to your 30s, you have to start making decisions. I didn't ever think I was going to be the person. I have a very small friend group as it is. Very, very meticulous, very collected, very purposeful. Yeah. I never thought I was going to be the person who was going to have to shed relationships. But I still had to do it in my 30s because while we're changing, they're changing too. Some people are getting more negative and more set in their ways, and they don't want to be challenged and they don't want to have any personal growth. And some people are, no, tell me when I screwed up. Tell me when I hurt your feelings. Tell me when I stepped out of bounds. Tell me when I'm not being my best self. Tell me when I'm not being who I can be called out. I want to be.
If there is something that I'm doing that is hurting someone, or if I'm going through life and it is like, what the hell is Chrissy doing? Yeah. Call me out. I am the most receptive human. Like I will take what you say and I will genuinely like evolve and grow from there. Yeah. But like, if you don't call like your friend out or like someone that you're around, like how are they ever going to know, grow and change? But that's where the shedding comes. Yeah. Right.
100%.
Because I had to shed some people out of my life when I was turning 30 because I was like, I am on such a strong mindset shift and you're either on this boat or you're not. Yeah. And if you're not getting on.
Self-select. Oh, yeah. They self-select themselves. Yeah. And it becomes glaringly obvious. Okay.
So obvious.
Aren't like, the universe does not let you ignore it.
Oh, no. I tried for a really long time.
No. Yeah. Like the universe will just keep pushing you and pushing and another button until you get it out. Are like, you know what? Yeah. This isn't for me anymore. Yeah. So it's 100% who you surround yourself with.
100%. Yeah. Okay. One more question before rapid fire.
But I don't think we have time for rapid
No,
fire.
Swear.
No, we'll have to do
time?
rapid fire.
Oh my God,
off.
we don't.
I was gonna say
We have to do it. You guys are just gonna have to make it fit.
I was thinking let's just take rapid fire to like Instagram. Like
we could do that.
We
could do that.
Okay, let's do it.
But I like just want to say before we hop
keep
off.
talking.
I know. We could keep talking. We'll definitely have another episode for sure. But like you just came on here so raw and unfiltered, which is like all we ever want on this
could not
show.
thank you
I
more
asked
for
my
that.
husband how honest do I go? He's like, give him like 90 to 95%. And then we talked about it a little bit more, and he's like, Erica, you've had such a wild life. Like you have so many crazy, like you can't hold back.
Oh my God, I
So,
love that.
You can thank my husband.
Well, I thank both of you. And for you to like feel comfortable to share all that stuff.
Yeah.
Because
Oh yeah.
I know it's helped me, and I'm sure it's like gonna help anyone listening. So I can't wait for like just having you back and seeing who this episode helps.
Yes. Thank you all for listening. And go to Instagram for rapid fire.
Yes.
Yes.
We will make sure.
We will
make sure.
We will do it. I love it.
All right. Love
See you guys next time.